Here we go. Elliott on strike.
A clutch moment might only happen once in a player's career. We've seen it happen twice in the last 2 weeks with the Black Caps. We're going to go inside the heads of players, psychologists and coaches to see what's really going on upstairs in those clutch moments.
Final ball of this amazing test match here at Hagley Oval. New Zealand need one. Oh, it's missed. He's out. If he hits, he's out. He's safe. Oh, double play. Double play. We're going upstairs. Oh, the desperate dive gets New Zealand home in a thriller.
Gary, talking about those close moments in those last 2 tests, did you know Kane was going to win it? And did you know Wags was the right person to have the ball in the hand?
Look, I mean, you never know for sure, but I guess when you look at someone like Kane and you look at the way he's won many white ball games for New Zealand in clutch moments as well, then I guess it gives you an air of confidence around what's going ahead. But there's never any guarantees in sport, and that's part of the beauty of what cricket is and what sport is as well.
3 balls left, 5 needed. Oh, he sounded good. He found the gap. He's found the gap. Can you believe it? Oh, Kane Williamson.
Does everyone have that clutch moment in them?
I think everyone can do it, but I think, as we sort of alluded to before, the experience builds the confidence to actually be in that moment as well. Then I think you also have some players that are a little bit immune to the pressure at times as well, and they don't really feel it the same as what others do. And you look to them at times to say, okay, well, if you're ice cool under pressure, well, let's put you in the situation as well.
When it gets going, he just wants to keep going.
Des, you yourself have been involved in a lot of clutch moments, so in such a short career so far. What's probably been your biggest clutch moment?
Oh, look, it's first of all, it's just a privilege to be part of this Black Caps group and to be able to play with some world-class players. I look back to that semi-final of the T20 World Cup in the UAE to get that opportunity, I guess, to help us win an important game for our country is pretty cool.
What is it like when you're standing there, bat in hand, to try and win that game where you feel that pressure and you acknowledge that it's a clutch moment, don't you?
Yeah, well, obviously you definitely know well and truly about semi-finals and big moments, and for me you're just in the zone. I guess you're so present. You're not really thinking about the external factors that are going on around you. You might notice the crowd noise and stuff like that. Yeah, I look back and you can see that almost you got that look in your eye that you're on, and hopefully things go your way.
Those, I call them mental arousal levels. You have to just be flatline, no matter what the moment is or how big the moment is.
I think everyone's different. Like if I look at a Mitch Satner, he's definitely flatline. But for me, I need that intensity. I need that sort of competitiveness to get me up and get me stuck into the contest. And there'll be ways at times where I'll try and create that if I feel like I'm not getting that sort of contest that helps make me tick.
What a moment this is for Daryl Mitchell. He has a second Test match 100 and a one that he will remember for the rest of his days here at Lord's.
I had John Braceman was my coach at MD for a few years ago, and I remember he came up to me at one point. He's like, "Remember, you're a rugby player. That's who you are. That's what you do. So make sure you get stuck into the contest." And that's something that's probably stuck with me in terms of finding ways to try and create that competitiveness in that contest in moments that, hopefully that can help me bring up my skills.
2 needed here for England. Flick down the left side! Flick down the outside! He's got in! Can you believe it? Wagner has done it! New Zealand win by 1 run! What a stunning test match!
To dive into things probably a little bit deeper, Dr. Natalie Hogg, sports psychologist for New Zealand cricket. When we look at a player in a clutch moment, talk about the tip of the iceberg, where that's one moment in time of their career. What lies underneath that moment and the preparation for that big moment to actually have success?
Well, I think as well, you look at the clutch moment as the tip of the iceberg, but also, in fact, even when we watch them playing a game, whether it's a World Cup semi-final or whether it's a test match, that's even the tip of the iceberg, because the amount of work these players have done on themselves to be able to achieve that success is significant. And then in those clutch moments, what you're seeing is the ability of them to really regulate themselves when they're under extreme levels of pressure. They'll harness their attention in some way to concentrate on what's the most important thing in that moment, whether it's watching the ball, whether it's whether they focus on their head position. There's all sorts of different things that might cue them to be concentrating so that they can just react in that moment.
Rick, we've spoken to the experts around the positive thinking aspect of things. I thought I'd speak to the experts in negative thinking. You wrote a book. It's called Negatively Thinking. How did you come up with that?
Oh, I guess it was just how I thought. I never think the fear of failure necessarily is a bad motivator. Sometimes it can be a good motivator. People sort of think, yeah, I was a negative thinker. No, what my thinking was about, what negative thinking is about, is a coping strategy, which is actually quite a positive strategy when it comes to sports psychology, or anything really. You write down all the things that could possibly go wrong and what you will do to put them right or ensure that they don't go wrong. And I found that, so I came up with this big coping strategy, and what I found over time was that my strategies for ensuring that these things didn't happen, or what I was going to do in those situations, was actually the same thing. And so it simplified the way I played the game. And when it comes to dealing with pressure, the simpler you can make things, the better your chance of success.
So what was your method then? Because I spoke about, my routine and how I had to process every ball, and I tried to stay in that process every single ball.
For me, it was just get forward. I would say in my mind, get forward, watch the ball, get forward, get forward, get forward, get forward now. And that meant watch the ball. Now, that seems very, very simple, but there was a wealth of research behind why I said those things and why that was my mindset.
I had a batting routine. Didn't really have a bowling routine, which is probably why it wasn't successful enough. But batting, I used to wait for the bowler to get to the top of the mark. I used to concentrate on my breathing, make sure I could almost feel my chest, see it visually go in and out. Then I used to tap my bat 3 times. As the bowler ran in, I used to say, look for runs. And then so no other thoughts came into my head. I said, watch the ball, watch the ball, watch the ball. And then as they released it, now. And then I would play. What do you think of that routine?
I think that's a good routine, and I would say it's a pretty common routine. Not exactly, because it's individual to you. But what's most important about that routine that you said is not what it is as much as I did it every time. And that's what's so critical, is that if you're trying this routine and then that fails you, and then you're like, maybe I'll try a different routine. Maybe I shouldn't say look for runs. Maybe I should say watch the ball to myself. If you're constantly jumping between things, that's where the lack of trust is in your own game, in your own process. So what I encourage the people I'm working with to do is find a process and give it time to work, because you don't win every game, you don't score runs every game, even with your process, right? You didn't score runs every game, but it's committing to it every single time.
A lot of people say that you can't stop what's happening in your mind, but it's more the physical nature of what you do, the next positive movement that you make.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I definitely get those thoughts. And one thing, I've got 2 little girls at home, and there's a lot of kindergarten and preschool songs that go on in our house. And so I've sort of found a way that if I start singing Frozen songs or Lion King or something, when I start getting a bit wound up or thoughts come in, that's something I'll do. So if I'm at the non-striker's end, I'll sing that. It just reminds me that at the end of the day, it is a game that we're playing. As much as it means a hell of a lot, it's also just a game, and to have fun and get stuck in.
That's so funny, because when I was batting and had young children, I think Wiggles were big at that time.
Yeah, I'm going through that stage as well, don't worry about that. Yeah.
But it's actually quite comforting. It actually helps you get into the zone, I reckon.
Balance and perspective is something we've heard a lot. Does that mean that you've got more chance of having success in a clutch moment if you're an older player? With those battle scars?
Yes, well, I think experience helps, but I also think, I often say to younger people, what's so important is that you understand that this isn't the be-all and the end-all, that you are connected to more than just winning and losing on a Saturday when you're playing cricket. that you understand that you're a son or a daughter, or you've got other things in your life. So that also removes some of the pressure.
There's a real danger that I see in cricketers, that everything comes down to what we do on the field, but that's only one defining piece of our life. We are still fathers, husbands, friends to people as well, and I think some of the skills you develop through life can help you on the cricket field, but equally the other way as well. I think the things you learn in life will help you be a better cricketer.
For me, I guess I'm a little bit older now in my game, and I know what I need to do. So walking out into the middle with that sort of, I guess, my chest out, smile on my face, because that for me brings out the competitive side of me, and that's what makes me the best player I can be. I think also visualization. You visualize a lot of stuff that hopefully will come through in the 5 days leading up to it, and yeah, there's a number of, I guess, ways that you can do that. Everyone goes about it differently, but yeah, I think the more you can be clear and present when you walk out into that middle, hopefully the easier it will be.
I look back in my career, I don't know about your career, but my career, it was about proving a lot of people wrong.
Yeah.
So I was told I'd never make it, I'd never do it. So every time I did something well, I'd have pictures of those people in my mind, and I thought, well, there you go, I told you so. Which I don't know if that's a healthy way of doing things. Changed as I got older.
But if it works for you,
yeah.
I mean, I remember for me, I played in the era with Fleming, Kens, Harris, Astle, Fleming, all of those guys, and it was like I lived for the moment that they were all there, that I could prove I could do it as well. So that drove me. It's probably similar in a way.
So I've asked this to a lot of people as well. How much of the game is attributed to the mental side?
It's massive. It's massive. There's so many good players playing provincial cricket who have never learned how to get the job done when they're made to feel uncomfortable, when they really are tested by players that are maybe better than them or having a really good day. And that's all about the mental side of your game, being able to get the job done when you're under immense pressure and feeling like rubbish.
Do you think everyone's got clutch in them? The ability to win those clutch moments?
Yeah, I think everyone does. I think it's a process of, like we were talking about before, a process of a lifetime where you go through a lot of failures, and it might at the time feel horrible that you've missed out on some moments, but they might be setting you up for one big moment later on in your career. So I think everyone's got it in them. It's just about being as present as you can and doing it with a smile on your face.